All right, good early Wednesday morning, everybody. Just wanted to give you a quick little update on what's going on with Helene. Take a look at some of the tropical models versus our FutureCast model because there is a bit of a difference there, and kind of break down county by county what we are expecting here in Central Florida going forward right now. So we'll do that there for you, and then I'll definitely field some of your questions once we get through the main, so to speak. Suite of graphics there. So here's a look now at Tropical Storm Helene. Definitely a very large storm. You can see the purples and the magentas there beginning to develop around that core, which is now getting better and better organized this evening. And Anita Lawless, Dan Potter back in the house. Good to have you folks here. Appreciate you popping in and saying hi. So that's a look at the latest perspective, so to speak, of the storm. And then when you take a look at what the hurricane hunters were doing down there a short time ago, they did find a pressure of 987 millibars. That was at about 4,500 feet, which extrapolates to about 990, 991 millibar wise. Down at the surface. So again, not too much of a difference there. But again, noticing the trend, pressure continues to come down. Look at that, 991. Going to go from a 60-mile-an-hour tropical storm to a 120-mile-an-hour land falling, a major hurricane there, likely just east of the Big Bend, up towards Apalachicola. So we're going to have to watch that very carefully for folks. Rick Scott, Dan Potter, Gail K. Smith, Delise Feliciano Matos. Good to have you guys in here. And if you guys don't mind, just all I'd ask is you just to kind of share this feed with your loved ones, your friends. I just want to make sure everybody's on board with what's going on and kind of go over the impacts here in Central Florida here in just a couple minutes. So there it is, 8 a.m. Thursday, Cat 2 by the evening, Cat 3, and based on the latest guidance that we have. I do want to show you the tropical models, and this is important. The tropical models tonight are all within or on the western side of the cone there. So the trend has been maybe just a nudge closer to Apalachicola with the intensity forecast still bouncing around from a hurricane to a major hurricane, almost category 4. So something that we would certainly want to keep an eye on and watch going forward. So that's again something that we're going to continue to monitor here going forward. Could be again a very strong storm there, peaking actually on Thursday, not Friday. That's a day off there, so we'll continue to keep trends and tracks on that for everybody at home. Let me show you the latest advisories. As you can see here, tropical storm warnings now have been included into Volusia in Brevard County along the east coast there. Thank you, Anita. Appreciate that. Dominique Evermond, Carmen de Santiago, Fort Myers. Surge is going to be the big concern there, and there will be tropical storm force wind gust. In fact, let me kind of show it to you here locally for folks that live here in Central Florida. Boy, this system's acting really slow. There's the inland and coastal tropical storm warnings. Still have tropical storm watches for Marion and Flagler counties. However, there's a hurricane watch on the western side there of Marion County. Wider perspective really shows the bigger story. And the key point here, of the 67 counties in the state of Florida, 58 of them are under some sort of advisories, just to kind of give you a perspective on how big this storm is. The arrival time of the worst weather, not the first squalls, there's a big difference there. In the yellow, Orlando south and west, Thursday late morning, and then up north during the afternoon hours. When you take a look at the latest forecast there for winds, you got 90 plus there where the landfall is, and then you have 65 to 75 up north, Marion, maybe as far east as Flagler County, depending upon the exact location of this cone and forecast models down the road. 45 to 55 I-4 corridor, a little bit lower there, south and east. And then when it comes to power outages here, I don't think any will happen in Fort Myers, down to Miami and Stewart, but the greatest risk is going to be up towards the Panhandle, maybe into southern Georgia, Likely power outages there in Marion County, maybe on into Flagler County, and then the metro areas, it's certainly possible. So let's break down some, oh, real quick before I get into the county stuff here. There's a look at the first warning weather day. Southeast Polk is in the house. Good to have you there. Once I get through the county by counties, then I'm going to start breaking down some of the computer models, wind forecast, and all the things you look at when we're talking about these type of storms. So there's Wednesday evening through Thursday. That's the time frame with the worst of the weather there on Thursday. So when we break the county by counties down here for you, there's the western counties. Ocala would have the strongest winds. Could be 75 plus for the gust, sustained 45, 55. And then when you take a look at Sumter and Lake, a notch lower, and then into the Polk County, also a notch lower there, probably looking at max gust 55 to 60 plus there. A little bit farther to the east, we take a look now at Seminole, Orange, and Osceola counties, as you can see right there. Worst weather Thursday p.m., 30 to 40 sustained, 55 plus as the storm is going by to our west during the evening. Rainfall amounts 3 to 5 with some isolated 6 plus. Watching the wind, flood, and severe weather threats there. And then last but of course not least, the eastern side of the peninsula now, you can see that we do have stronger winds up north in Flagler County, but I think where there they could be 55 plus, but southern Brevard County more likely than the 45 plus there. So there you go. Shelby, yep, just trying to keep you guys in the know here based on what I'm seeing. Let's do a little bit of nowcasting, meaning looking at the weather and what's going on right now. And there's a couple of features I do want to point out. This is the upper low, and you can see there's a definitive push off towards the east or the east-southeast in that general vicinity. That's nudging this high back to the east, and that eventually will allow for this to come in between the high and the low and get pulled up towards the north-northeast. The other thing that I'm noticing is the size of the storm. It's about 650 miles wide from the left side of the storm towards the eastern side. Big burst of storms there, southeastern Cuba. The strongest winds, though, are around what we call the CDO, the Central Dense Overcast, and you can see the winds there growing around that core. And there's a good reason for that. It's over some very, very warm waters right now and will remain over some very warm waters right through landfall. The winds and the rain are picking up across South Florida. Earlier we had some tropical storm force wind gusts down towards the Keys. Below that right now, but we're waiting on that next band that will likely change that. The tropical cyclone heat potential is a measure of the depth of the warm water, not just at the surface, but down 300, 400, 500 feet. And when it's that warm, that is high octane fuel for developing tropical systems. So that's definitely something that we're watching and have been noting. There's a look at 2 a.m. Look at 2 a.m. Thursday morning. Big band of thunderstorms and squalls coming through central Florida. The first real punch from this system. Then as we get to 5, 6, 7 o'clock, another punch of energy coming up across I-95. And then boom, look at that, into Volusia. Orange County. It's going to be a nasty morning commute on Thursday. The core of the storm, beautiful looking eye right there on the laps. But notice where it's heading. It's heading up towards the northeast. Big bands now coming ashore on the western side of the peninsula. Look at the eye. Going in very close to Cedar Key. That is the outlier, as we showed you the tropical models right at or just east of Apalachicola. So that's a pretty big difference between our Futurecast model and the tropical models. Now, this is the first time, the first run we're seeing of this, so we don't want to jump on that and go crazy with that, but we definitely have to point that out to you. So as of right now, tropical storm winds are the highest concern. We'll watch the flooding, the tornadoes, and the potential there for storm surge on the west coast. Now, the other thing we're going to be watching is the flood risk. There's Thursday on into Friday. You can see lots of yellow flooding possible and likely where the landfall does occur as you head up towards the Florida panhandle. A couple of other things we're going to be watching. That includes the wave action. I do want to show you some storm surge products here that I think you need to know about. Let's begin with this particular graphic right here. Give me a second. It's loading in. And as it loads in, boy, it's taking its sweet time. There's a look now. The buoy in the northwestern Caribbean, 13-foot waves. When we take a look at the other data here, I'm going to pixel query these for folks at home. Oops, there's brand new. Let me do this. I'm actually going to clear that. I want to redo this for you guys so we get minute by minute real-time data. Look at that. 17-foot wave action right now around the center of that storm, and that's starting to lift northward now into the southern portion of the Gulf of Mexico. The wave forecast here, and this is important for those of you that may have loved ones along the west coast, because we have to start factoring in surge potential here. There's a look at 7:30 p.m. You can see wave action going to 20 to 25 feet. Jump ahead here to, we'll call it 2:30 in the afternoon. That is red. So that is potentially 40-foot wave action there. And that's going to create some significant storm surge. In fact, when you take a look at the storm surge forecast there, you can see in the purple, that's 10 to 15 feet storm surge. Milton, we're going to be doing that here after 2 o'clock. I'll be here to 2 a.m. waiting for the next team, Kellyanne and Eric, to kind of drive on in. All right, now, this is a product I definitely want you guys to see. Kelsey, Panama City's pretty far west. I don't want to say no. I just keep checking back in. But, you know, the models are kind of locked in over towards Apalachicola. So there's a look now at 2:30 in the afternoon. First squall, first band kind of coming on in. There's another band. Notice the winds in that 15 to 30 mile an hour range. Titusville around 30. Then we get a little bit of a breather as we wait for the next squall. That will be arriving. This is going to have a bigger punch to it right around 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning. And then that will lift up towards the north. And then 9 a.m., here comes another one. And then, oops, then as we get you into the afternoon on Thursday, notice the wind gust getting stronger and stronger now. There's 5 o'clock. There you go. Adrian, not on Thursday, I don't think that's a good idea. There's a look at Claremont. Look at these winds now. Futurecast, again, is the outlier. It's the one model that we have that's a little bit farther to the east than the tropical models. Not a little, actually a good bit. That means that the winds with this would be a bit stronger if this were to verify. Look at Ocala, 8:30 in the evening, tropical storm force wind gust, 82 to 87. Again, big rain bands coming across Sunshine State there as we work our way into 11, 12. Look at that big band now from Palm Coast to Wildwood. You'd have to watch that for any potential rotation or tornado warnings. And then that would then lift on out as we go through the early morning hours on Friday. So that's one of the things I wanted to show you. When you look at the side-by-side now of the Euro and the GFS, you can see here decent agreement on both of these. The Euro might be just a tad slower, but not by much. So when you look at the tropical timeline now, let me show you this. Getting better organized now. Hurricane tomorrow. Main action, main appetite coming in as we get you into Thursday. All right, I haven't shown you the GFS, and I haven't shown you the Euro as far as the wind gusts are concerned. I know that's one of the things folks like to look at. It will be Rosario hitting South Georgia for sure. Laura, you'll have some definite tropical storm force wind gusts. I'd be more concerned about flooding potential and tornadoes than the wind. Okay, call me if you need it. All right, Facebook. Hang on one second. Doing a Facebook Live right now. There we go. All right, so here's a look at the GFS. Let's take a look at that here for you. And the winds here, Thursday, start increasing. By the time we get to the 11 o'clock hour here, you start to see the tropical storm force winds moving on in from the southwest to the northeast. And the GFS model peaks at about 65 to 70 in our northwestern communities, and then everything kind of lifts up to the north and things begin to steadily improve by Friday morning. So that's the GFS. Again, this is more in line with the tropical models. Karen, no, I don't think you need to do that. I think you're okay. I don't think you need to worry about filling up the bathtubs with water. Here's a look now at the euro. Here's a peek at the noon hour. You can see the tropical storm force winds coming on in on the euro. Euro peaks at 62 up there in Ocala. And then along the coast, it'd be closer to about 50, 55. Then you can see the euro, everything begins to quiet on down by Friday morning. So that's that. One other graphic I do like to show is the probability of tropical storm force winds. And this particular product does update with each new advisory. So you can see there, tropical storm force winds are much higher north and west of Orlando than south and east. That's the takeaway from that particular graphic. Another thing I do want to show is rainfall. Let me find that for everybody here. Boom, boom. This is a look at the euro. And, the problem with these particular models, they don't do as well with the rainfall. Euro, that's garbage. I don't buy that at all. I think the rainfall amounts are going to be considerably higher. GFS is doing a little bit better, but not much better. I do have, let me see here if I can find, thought I had, I want to show you the, let's see here. Oh, flood advisories. I do need to show you that. There's flood advisories here. Give me a second. It's loading in. There's your flood advisories for our north and western locations there. And then this is the other one I did want to show you. This is the graph futurecast model. Right now it's moving at 10 miles an hour, Rhonda, off towards the west-northwest. All right, so here's the graph. The graph I think is doing probably the best of all our models. Big focus off towards the west with heavier rainfall amounts and still some good amounts off towards the east. So I'm a fan of this particular product more so than anybody else. I think that's got the best handle on things. And then when we take a look at the updated 7-day forecast here, here's the worst time frame. Wednesday night on into Thursday. Again, Wednesday night on into Thursday. That's the time frame that we would have to really look at the worst weather conditions moving on into Central Florida. So, all right, let me put up the satellite and cone, and then I'll let you guys ask your questions away. Let's take a few questions here. Leaving here at 2 a.m. I'll get a little bit of sleep, not a whole lot, but of course keep you posted on that. You bet, Debbie, Rhonda, yep. So there you go. All right, Priscilla, you're welcome. So that's a look at that. So yeah, there's our storm just really beginning to take shape. And for me, you can clearly see that cone beginning to shrink. But the effects are going to be way outside of that cone. So there you go. Power outages. D is asking for power outages. I do have that. I do believe that there could be some power outages, especially north and west. Jack, you bet. Remember, we don't have a cold front. Well, we do have a cold front, but you don't want that to happen. Cold front now would push everything to the east. So, you know, here's the thing on the evening on Wednesday. I would personally like to see people, limiting traffic after 8 p.m. I think that's when the bans start to come up gradually. Naples, wind surge, the biggies there. Any possibility of moving it? Well, Frank, the Futurecast model that we run in-house is doing that. However, tropical models are not. Adrian, appreciate that. Priscilla, do you have any other? The power companies don't shut the power down, only when they have to work on repairing things, just so you know. Haines City, these Facebook, Jojo Hernandez, I'm glad you're liking them. But so the greatest risk for power outage, widespread is going to be up north near the center of the storm, And then as we head towards Marion, maybe northern Volusia, Flagler County, could be some power outages there. And then the I-4 corridor, possible, but the chances are lowering. So, Amy, the model. So here's the thing. Again, I showed you this. Look at the model agreement here. These are the tropical models, and they're all within. They are all within that cone, center and or west. Center and or west. Rockledge, Brevard County is going to have some tropical storm force winds. They are under a tropical storm warning. Lake Donor every day thinking about calling out on. If there's a day to call out, Marta, Thursday would be the day. Why don't we check back in tomorrow to make sure things aren't going awry there, and then we'll go from there. Strong winds in Eustis, 55 plus. Possible there with gust in Eustis. Daughter driving to Miami Thursday. Dominique. Depends on what time. If she can leave early, she might be okay. She'll go through a couple of bands, so that could be, producing some winds. If she's got a moving van, I would say let's wait till Friday because high-profile vehicles can easily be impacted by these winds. Joyce Negron, that is what our Futurecast is doing, but all the other tropical models are not doing that. So that's the one thing we've kind of pointed out to our viewers tonight is that this is the first time we're seeing that on the Futurecast model. And we don't want to jump the gun and panic people, but we do need to point it out so people aren't caught off guard. Kelly Carter, they do not shut the bridges down for a tropical storm. They used to in the past. They don't now. But if it does get dangerous, sometimes they do change that. Jacksonville is definitely going to have some wind and some rain and the risk for some severe weather. Heading on a cruise Friday out of Tampa. It's going to be better Friday, but the surf might still be a little bit elevated there because of the storm, but it won't be as high as Thursday. Okay, you're welcome. No problem. Rick Scott, but Bushnell. I don't first responded. Bushnell is going to get into it for sure over there in Sumter County, so we got to be careful there. Alexa, DeLand winds for DeLand. Go back to some of these impact graphics here. Here's the DeLand graphic, as you can see right here. Give it a second. Takes a second to load in. Sustained winds 25, 35, max gust 45, maybe 50 plus if the graph model is correct. The others are not there. And then for my Bushnell friend, there you go. Bushnell is going to be sustained 45, 55 during the day on Thursday, and max gust 75 likely up in Marion, probably closer to 65 in Sumter County there, if things don't shift. That's the key. So they were constantly updating these graphics, by the way. All right. Yeah, Rhonda, they used to do that. I don't think they do that anymore, though. So that's something we're going to have to watch for sure there. So just FYI on that. All right, let me wrap this up. Got to make some updates, and then got another cut-in coming at 1 a.m. on West, and then at midnight, 2 a.m., then I'm going to kind of sign on off. But again, please share the feed. The more shares, the more people we can put in the weather know, and that's really pretty important in times like this, guys. So I do appreciate you all staying with me and us just trying to get the word out. All right, gang. Ta-ta. Take care. See you.